So Zenless Zone Zero has been out and everybody's got an opinion. Some are calling it the next big thing in anime actions RPGs, and others say it's just Genshin with more neon and less heart. So here's the question I've been asking myself this all week, right? What score does Zenless Zone Zero actually deserve, right? Because IGN gave it an 8, and that's really high. I mean, does it really deserve that? So in this video, I'm going to give you the real breakdown, what the game gets right, where it stumbles, and whether it's actually worth downloading or deleting. I mean, no fluff, I'm not gonna fanboy, just the truth. And by the end of this video, I'm gonna give Zenless Zone Zero a final score, one number, and that's it. But it might not be the one you expect. So let's start with the world. Zenless Zone Zero doesn't, ease you in, right? It throws you into a neon lit chaos of new Eridu, right? It's humanity's last stand against a force called the Hollows. Play as a character named Proxy, someone who guides others through these twisted dimensions. Now, the premise is solid. The vibes, they're pretty immaculate. There's this constant sense of mystery layered under the flashy combat and slick UI. And on paper, everything's there. You got factions with hidden agendas, a fractured society, dual protagonists with something to hide, but here's the honest truth. The world building is strong. The emotional payoff, it's still catching up, right? Characters are cool, but not all of them stick. There are moments that should hit harder, but the writing sometimes leans more style than substance. So if you're looking for a deep emotional RPG story that's going to make you cry, you might feel a little bit underwhelmed. But if you love world building, lore drops, and slowly piecing things together, there's a foundation here that could grow into something big. Now, let's talk gameplay, because this is where ZZZ really flexes, right? Combat is fast, tight, and buttery smooth. You're switching characters mid-combo, timing dodges, trigger follow-ups, and hitting 360 no-scopes with your sniper. Right? No, I'm just kidding. But, it feels like a stylish mix between, Devil May Cry and Honkai, right? Every encounter wants you to dance, and if you mess up the rhythm, you really feel it, right? Each character brings their own weapon, skill types, elemental identity, and yes, there is synergy between team comps, right? You've got characters that apply debuffs, chain interrupts, boost ultimates, or trigger status overloads, right? So if you're a combat nerd, this part will basically hook you, right? But here's where I have to be real, right? The enemy variety early on is not super deep, right? Missions can start to kind of blur together, especially if you're grinding for materials. The gameplay loop is fun, but the repetition really starts to hit pretty fast, and faster than you would expect, right? This is where new players can shine. You can learn to perfect dodge early. It opens up counterattacks, it breaks momentum, right? You want to focus on synergy, not just power. Some 4-star characters hit harder when paired right, and don't sleep on buffs, but buff-based characters can carry you farther than raw DPS. So let's talk about the elephant in every gacha room, the monetization. ZZZ runs on banners. You roll for characters, you upgrade with resources, and yeah, some characters are locked behind RNG, but here's the thing, compared to other games in the genre, ZZZ is surprisingly fair, at least early on, right? The game gives you a solid starter team. You have 4 stars like Nicole and Anton. They can clear endgame content with the right echo setup, and there's no hard PvP, so you're not being forced to wail to compete. But the deeper you go, the more the cracks start to show, right? That's what Dr. Seuss used to say. Late game progression leans heavy on grinding. Stamina systems start to bottleneck your pace, and premium banners like every other Hoyoverse title can feel a little aggressive. When the pity counter starts to reset, you start to get a little nervous. So here's the final question, right? Before we drop a score, is Zenless Zone Zero designed to respect your time or just monetize your patience? So here's my final take. My final take is Zenless Zone Zero isn't just, Genshin with guns. It's pretty slick, it's stylish, it has, one of the cleanest combat systems we've ever seen in a gacha RPG in years, so you kind of have to give it that. But it's also a little thin, right? The narrative wants to be deep, but it doesn't really get there. The grind starts, the grind is manageable, but it kind of creeps up quick, the repetition, right? And while it's fun now, the long term of it, it's still to be determined. Some people have given up on the game. So if you're a new player looking for a fresh world, fast combat in a game you can casually vibe with, yeah, you're gonna love this game. But if you're looking for that emotional, immersive, lore-drenched RPG that keeps you up at night thinking about its characters, then ZZZ isn't quite that game yet. So here's my score. I'm gonna give it a very lucky 7 out of 10. The reason why, it's fun, it's polished, but it still needs time to grow in its potential. And now I want to know what your score is. So comment down below 1 through 10 and let's see how close we really are, and be honest. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.